Welcome to RPTV. My name is Kedar. RPTV is your source for community news in Regent Park. In today's story, we'll look at the January 16th meeting of the Social Development Planning Committee, the central hub coordinating Regent Park's many organizations and initiatives. The key discussion centered on the future of hybrid meetings and developing a working plan. Joel Klassen from the Young Street Mission facilitated the meeting, and he fielded comments and questions from committee members regarding the issue of whether or not the committee should switch from virtual meetings to in-person meetings, and what are the relative pros and cons of these models for group members. Near the end of the meeting, Gail Lynch, co-chair Regent Park Social Development Plan, SDP, presented a draft of the working plan, which covered what the strategic plan will be for the year 2025. As always, the Planning Committee continues to act through thoughtful collaboration and community engagement to create a vibrant, inclusive, and sustainable neighborhood that reflects the needs and aspirations of all its residents.
There we go. Okay, so we will have a brief report from the fundraising committee, and an update from the evaluations and benchmark committee. We'll talk about having in-person meetings, and then our main piece in the meeting is for Gail to present and lead us through building a work plan. So any questions about that?
You said the benchmark and fundraising committee, right, Walied?
First is fundraising and next is evaluations and benchmarks.
Okay, thanks.
Did you mention in-person meetings?
Yep.
Yes, I did.
That's the third agenda item.
Okay. So would anybody like to request any other agenda? Okay. So Walied, over to you for a
one second, Walied. Joel. Hello. Joel.
Yeah, go ahead.
On Tuesday, I made a request to find out the status of the chairs and co-chairs in the 4 working groups, to learn who is for election and who is not for election in 2025. That is one of my concerns, to know why is somebody running for, considered to be selected to the chair. That's all I want to know.
I spoke to somebody about that, so I have some information.
Okay, so let's put that at the end of the agenda. A next facilitator for next week's meeting. Would anybody like to facilitate?
Yeah, the next meeting facilitator will be Miguel. He has a full 2 hours availability.
Okay.
Yes, I will be facilitating this week because I'm attending a town hall meeting here at City Hall. It starts at 6.
Oh, you're welcome, Miguel, for
Thank you for stepping in, Joel.
I was going to respond to you earlier, and I just let that pass.
It's all right. Thank you.
Okay. So Walied, would you like to give us a update on the fundraising committee?
Yeah, so I just want to thank everyone for attending the meeting. And at the last planning committee meeting, we had a discussion on the campaign to resource the Regent Park Social Development Plan. We got feedback from folks, which was wonderful. Unfortunately, we didn't have a meeting on Tuesday. I was unfortunately not well and could not facilitate the meeting. But I do have some news. First of all, thanks Miguel for being at the budget town hall today. This is a important space to advocate to resource the social development plan. But I just want to let folks know that this week, this process started on Tuesday, Monday, where there were presentations related to the budget that have been made by various divisions of the City of Toronto. So next week, there'll be an opportunity to hear from residents directly through deputations. And if you like to speak at any of these sessions, you can do so by sending an email. And I'm going to put this information in the chat. And I just want to make sure I'm able to share the screen as well. So just please give me that privilege. So you can send an email to the budget committee, which is buc@toronto.ca, to request to depute. Okay, so I'm going to put an example of how that looks like.
Actually, Waleed, we're just asking for an update. What we thought we would have is just a really brief update, and so to allow us to have some discussion. And you can put that in the chat so people know what to do. But if you could just give us a brief update, please.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make it very brief.
Without not get into the details of logistics and so on.
Okay, sounds good. Well, basically what we're hoping to do is get as many residents as possible to register to depute at the budget committee hearings that are happening next week. And I just want to note that today there is a town hall being hosted by Councillor Chris Moyse and Councillor Asma Malik, and it is from 6 to 8 o'clock at City Hall at 100 Queen Street West in Committee Room 4. So with regards to the budget process, I'm just going to
for the fundraising committee.
Yeah, what does the fundraising committee want to do? Just just a sort of an overview of it.
Missed the meeting yesterday, so I'm waiting.
The overall goal of the fundraising committee is to engage as many residents who've been impacted by investments in the Regent Park Social Development Plan, as well as organizations that have received funding through the Social Development Plan to depute or to write letters of support in favor of allocating $1 million per year. So the ask is $5 million from 2026 to 2030, just like we discussed at the last meeting. But I'm just going to say...
You weren't there, so I want to know when the next meeting is.
I was there at the last planning committee.
Sarah Jane, can you just put your hand up, please?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, I was at the last planning committee meeting. That's where we discussed this. Just to quickly an update, please, you can look at this as a resource. I think it's important to understand what the 2025 budget is. Also note that there are major requests. One of the biggest requests is from Toronto Police Services for $46 million. So that's the request in this current budget for 2025. And the budget presentations, so let me just quickly share the link here, because this is a resource that we're going to be using. So send a request.
Okay, so and then if you want to make a deputation, folks, and you want to learn about how to do it, you can contact Waleed, and he'll put the information in the chat.
Yeah, I already put it.
Sarah Jane and Gail.
Waleed, I'm still waiting for when the next fundraising committee meeting is, because Tuesday, it was supposed to be at 5 and it didn't occur. I'm talking about, it was on the agenda meeting. It was a fundraising committee meeting that was added at 5 after the agenda and strategic planning meeting, and you were still deputing and didn't arrive. So I want to know when the next fundraising committee meeting is.
Yeah, so just for clarity, sorry, Jane, I wasn't deputing anywhere. Like I said earlier, I was not well. I was hospitalized, so I could not participate, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
But the next the next fundraising committee will be on Monday at 5:30 p.m. We do have a Sunday in the Park meeting on Monday, so just after that, after the planning meeting, so it will be on Monday at 5:30 p.m. from 5:30.
Can you send an email?
Yeah, I'm sending it right now, my friend.
Well, it's good to have you back with us, Walied, and glad to see that you're looking well.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry I misunderstood. Miguel gave us the wrong information, but anyway, I'm going to write down 5:30 on Monday. Thank you.
Hello?
Gail and then Michael.
Yeah, I just want to maybe, I guess when you meet at the next meeting, to understand if the only funding that will be pursued is the cities. Well, that would be the question I would want to have answered. And then if it's, obviously if it's a no, we probably need to understand the why behind that. And then if it's no, then then, you know, what would be the update on those other pieces? And if it's yes, that this is all we're going to pursue, then I would certainly ask the why. So when next there is an update, when you all meet, that would be some of the info that I would want to have back from this committee. Thanks.
Welcome, Sonia. We just had Sonia Yang join us.
Thank you for the welcome. I apologize for being a bit late. I just got back, but Happy New Year to everyone, and it's good to be part of the meeting at the start of the year.
Welcome,
have
Sonia.
you.
Yes, Wally. I just heard that you recovered, right, from an accident. You're well now.
Oh, on my way to recovery. Thank you, Sonia.
Okay. Take care.
Okay, Michael, go ahead.
So first of all, there's 4 meetings that I know of on Monday evening.
That's all right. There are.
So hopefully that can be fixed. Or the one at 5:30 is the safety network. I thought that at 4:00 there was going to be a general meeting of community building, so I don't know how that could be a Sunday in the Park meeting. So I hope we get that straightened out. We don't have to do that right now, but I'd like to have that down to maybe 2 meetings so we can fit them in and arrange for something else to happen for the other meetings.
So catching that, Michael, I didn't know there was a community building meeting on Monday.
Yeah, we'd like to have one, but we can maybe, Walied, I'll check in with you after the meeting.
Okay.
And following that is already planned to be the safety meeting.
That's right.
Sorry, Monday, 5:30 to 7:30, we do have the safety committee meeting as well.
Well, I think we might then have to move the funding committee meeting so it doesn't conflict with those meeting times. So why don't I propose that on Tuesday we have EED, right? Is EED still happening on the 21st? Does anyone know?
I can double check that really quickly. Let me check the calendar.
Because we can probably do it at the EED time slot if it's not happening from 5 to 7.
Okay, so meanwhile, any questions? Just like we can hear that when as we go in turn. Any questions about the funding committee update?
What day did you say, Walied?
Tuesday the 21st as an alternative time slot, 5 to 7. So
That's fine for me.
Right now that time slot is open. There doesn't seem to be an EED meeting published on the SDP calendar at this time.
EED is actually, it's been moved, I believe, to 3:00.
Okay. I don't see anything on the calendar. Would you like me to update that?
Well, not me, please. I'm not the co-chair.
Okay, no problem.
I think that's what I got from my emails. And I don't even know if they put it in there because somebody would have to do it for them, I think.
Okay, I'll connect with Elena just to confirm.
Yeah.
awesome. So if that's the case, then we're going to be doing our funding meeting on Tuesday from 5:00 to 5 to 7. And we'll do a training session for deputations as well. Because that will be the first day.
But that's after the deputations.
We have deputations on Wednesday as well, Wednesday and Thursday. But we're going to encourage people to register and depute on Tuesday as well, on the 21st. You can also do it virtually, by the way. You can depute virtually.
Okay, any other, so would anybody like to say anything further on the fundraising committee item?
I probably want a response back. Whether, yes, they're gonna look at it or no.
Sorry, can you say that? I didn't understand that, Gil.
Yeah, I want to know that we're gonna get an update based on the two questions I asked after their meeting.
I believe, Gail, we answered that question at the last planning meeting, and that we're focusing on just funding from the City of Toronto. So just to answer your question for the second time.
So you're saying that there will be no funding efforts at all for anything other than the City of Toronto?
No, we did not say that. I'm saying that the funding committee meeting that we're going to be having next week, our focus will be in the campaign to resource the SDP through funding from the City of Toronto.
Right. And that doesn't answer my question then. I just wanted to know about other funding. Is that something they're going to pursue? And then can we get an update on that part, right? Like something like, oh, it's going to start in X month, or, you know, we're aligning these resources, like that type of thing. I'm not saying don't do the City of Toronto. I'm just saying, is there anything else? And if there is, can we get an update on that?
So we'll go Michael and then Miguel.
So I think that will happen after the city stuff is finished, but that remains for other people to figure out as well. That's just my understanding. Is it was not ever excluded. It's just supposed to be, the city stuff has to be done in January, so that's all. It doesn't mean other things won't happen.
Miguel.
Yes. So Walied, thanks for the invitation for the funding SDP. Is it on Google Meet, or is it gonna be in person? Let's say at the Dennis Spectrum.
Zoom link, but I'll also book a space at Daniel Spectrum for those who want to meet in. So we'll do a hybrid.
So, okay, thank you. Just to clarify, thank you.
Sorry, I can share my screen. I do apologize.
So if we are good with moving on, we'll close this item. Doesn't sound like anybody else wants to speak to it. So an evaluations and benchmark committee update. I think what I understood that people wanted, there was a request in the agenda planning committee on Tuesday to hear about the committee. So the update that I have is that there is, we don't have funding for the staffing position that Brandy was exercising last fall. And so Brandy's, as we introduced Brandy again last week, and her role is at least at the moment focused on the administrative coordinator piece of her job.
Hello?
So that's the update that I have.
Sorry, Joel, I didn't get that proper. Could you just repeat that? Do we do or we don't?
We don't.
So for the remainder of the year, you mean for 2025? They've said no?
Yeah, well, the contract that Brandy has right now is as an administrative coordinator. I hear you, Michael. We're going to come to you. Goes until May 31st.
Okay.
So we have funding until May 31st for her position.
And then after May 31st, there'll be no SDP coordinator role funded for 2025? Is that?
That's at the moment, that's the way it is, yeah. Okay,
good to know. Thank you.
Michael.
Okay, so the process for at least generating reports from the data we already have can continue. The report for 2023 3 was finished in July 2024. Then in the meantime, we sort of handed over some information, mostly from the strategic planning, but we handed that over to Walied, who was working on the report to the city for the deputations. And then following that, I'm going to start working on a evaluation report for 2024. So the people who are actually going to write those reports are still available, even if like some of the people who were previously involved are not. So the reporting can happen. We might have more difficulty actually collecting data this year without some more assistance, but I mean, I'm prepared to try to keep that process going as much as we can. I was wondering whether or not the evaluation committee should resume meeting. I don't know if people are prepared to make a decision on that right now. But in any case, like there is still some effort going on. And I think if we don't start meeting at the next one, which would be January 30th, then maybe by 2 weeks after that, we should start meeting again and at least like see how much we have gotten done by then and see what the next steps are. So it's not completely stopped. It's just that some parts are easier to continue than others, and definitely some parts of the process will continue.
Waleed.
Yeah, I think we need to take action with regards to just the news you just shared with the rest of the planning committee, and that is we will not have a funded position from May onwards. I think that's in violation of the motion that resourced the SDP for the first 5 years. I just don't understand the reasons as to why this position will not be funded for half the last year of the SDP funded period. So the last 12 months of the 5-year commitment made by City Council. So I think we might need to take action by writing a letter to the city, specifically SDFA, asking why a decision was made to stop resourcing the SDP for the last June, July, August, September, October, November, December, 7 months. And if we're mistaken by that information, then we might need some information as to how they've come to that decision.
Hi,
Go ahead, Miguel.
yeah. So Gail keeps asking what other sources of funding outside of deputing at Toronto City Hall. I would like to respond to that. The other sources of funding that we make apply for outsourcing the SDP is next to zero, because the province will not give us no money at all. Secondly, Marcy Ian is not able to help us at this moment since the parliament is prorogued. So our only avenues to raise funding is either we do it ourselves, fundraising events, or advocate. Like today at the town hall meeting, I will be asking if it's possible that the city can source the salary of Brandy and also of Pavitra at the RPNA. There are pillars in our organization, and being the backbone of our organization, they need to be compensated for the work. And I feel sad that we only are able to provide less than a full-time job. It's not even a full-time job. So we had to secure funding. My only concern is for the administration staff, that they need funding for the work they do. I personally, I don't care, but if you want to throw in a food bank, car or something, I'll be happy to take it. Thank you.
Okay. So I think we've heard, certainly in the city's report, and in some of the discussions we've had, like with Richard at the Strategic Planning Committee in December, there are plans for ambassador roles. And I think those plans include funding. And so I believe there's a kind of an expectation to shift some of the funding. So not to say that that's a sufficient, like, I think what we might want to do is invite Richard once again to talk about what the city's plans are. I think that it might be better to have a conversation about those things so that we understand them more fully. And then if we do want to take any action, we can do that based on a fuller knowledge. Could do it through letters, but might be easier to do it just through a conversation. Michael.
Hello.
Sorry, that was me taking off my facilitator hat and just making a suggestion. Go ahead, Michael.
So, I mean, it's obvious that the city wants to sort of change some things. One of those things could be how they direct their money, and that could cause some disagreement in terms of whether or not we think the money was supposed to be used in one way and the city thinks it's supposed to be used in another way. There could be some disagreement about that. And then there's other things that are non-financial. I mean, I think it's more clear on the non-financial decisions that the city just can't make a decision for us. But even that, I think, is being lumped in and confused, and somehow people think that because the city is changing its position on something, that they might be able to make us change things.
Michael,
and
just a
I
moment,
hope
please.
it doesn't
Michael,
turn out
just-
that way.
Michael, just
And
a moment, please.
I'm hearing a lot of stuff right now.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Michael. Just a moment, please. Brandy, can you please mute Miguel, or Miguel, can you mute yourself, please? Sorry to interrupt, Michael.
So just as this process goes forward, I think there's going to be a lot of confusion as to what the city can decide and what they can't decide because it's really up to us and that kind of thing. So I think we're going to get into a lot of situations where even amongst ourselves, some of us say, well, the city decided this, so it's done. And others of us say, well, we don't have to do it that way. It's not a city decision. So I think that's going to come up back and forth, especially with the non-financial matters where I think it's pretty clear it's not a city decision. And even with the financial matters, people are going to have some disagreements with the city. So I just want to make sure we don't get into a situation where we just do whatever the city says because we think it was a decision that they were entitled to make and it's a done deal. I think we have some. I don't think anything non-financial is a done deal, and anything financial can still be negotiated.
So if we want to talk more about this, I'd suggest we we could just decide if we want to invite Richard maybe in a couple of weeks or something. I'd suggest maybe that we discuss it outside of this meeting. It's not really about evaluations and benchmarks at the moment. It's more about funding question around the city. If people, it depends what you think about that, folks. That's my suggestion. Marlene?
Yeah, Richard's going to say the same thing he's always said. There are things that we have to come to terms with. Yes, if the city's going to give us some money excuse me, of course we go after it. And if that's in January, January is when we do it. But after that, we've got to come to terms with the fact that the city is not going to be giving us money forever. And we have to become self-sustaining. And we have to do it before the city says the banks are closed, people. We have to be ready for it. And if we don't come to terms with that now, it's going to be the biggest jolt when they finally close the doors on us. We have to start finding money elsewhere right now, this year, because we're not going to get money forever from the city. We have to find ways to raise money, make money, be self-sustaining for ourselves. You know, this is our community, and we have to make that money for ourselves because we're not always going to be funded. Certainly not from the city. They don't have any money. Look at how much they're raising property taxes this year. For Pete's sake, you know, they can't keep doing that. You know, our property owners are going to go crazy. And they're not going to keep shelling out for communities like ours, and all communities like ours are going to want that money. We've got to do it ourselves and not always be on the receiving end with our hand out. And that's a big change that most of us don't like. But it's a mindset that needs to be shifted. And I think this is part of what Gail is asking, if I'm not mistaken, Gail. We need to be looking at alternatives to the city.
I do want to say, folks, like there's a lot of meat here, a lot of substance, and it's not on our agenda. It'll take some time to work it through. If you want to take the time to do that now, we will not do the stuff on our agenda. So I'm asking you, people that are speaking, to, if you think that you want to go further in the direction of this discussion, that you don't, and that we find a way to shape an agenda item that we can come to a meaningful decision on and take next steps on at a future meeting. Right now, I think what we're going to end up doing is talking and not deciding anything. And we do want to have Gail's prepared a work plan. She's put a bunch of work into it, and that could easily fit onto the work plan. So I suggest that we stop this discussion so we can have time to talk about in-person meetings and go through the process that Gail is leading. So Walied, I'd ask if what you want to do is to further this discussion.
No, it's not. It's to speak to the in-person meetings just before I leave.
Okay, so we'll get there in a moment, Walied. When we start that agenda item, I'll go to you. Okay.
May I please
Okay.
finish saying?
Gail, you did have your hand up, but you put it down. I don't know if that's appreciated. If you did want to go further in this discussion, and I do think that we should continue it. Marlene, were you going to? I thought you had an old hand, but if you were going to speak, Marlene, did you want to say something?
I wanted to say that this is not where we discuss it. I think we take this back to the fundraising committee and saying that this should be a major topic at the fundraising committee and come back and report it here.
Fair enough. Yep, that can be done too. I mean, I guess we can figure that out for a future agenda, and if that's the way people want to go, absolutely, I think that's fine. Okay, so we're going to close the evaluations and benchmark committee update, and we will move to in-person meetings. So this is a proposal that I thought Michael was going to speak to, but it looks like maybe not. And so unless you want to speak, Michael, we'll just pass it to Walied.
Well, I might as well at least start it.
Yeah. Walied, I'm just passing it to Michael because he's the one that proposed the idea, if you're okay with that. Well, I mean, it's not a day we've talked about a lot, but Michael brought it up in this current context.
So we had previously talked about this, but it came up again at the stakeholders table meeting where we were trying to figure out the relationship between the planning committee and the stakeholders table, and people wanted there to be some in-person meetings of the planning committee, and that was sort of part of the overall compromise on that item. And my interpretation of that is that, like, it'd be good to have an in-person meeting once a month. Separately from that, Richard suggested at one point that maybe the planning committee would have a schedule throughout the month where certain types of decisions or larger decisions are reserved for a particular meeting or not. And I don't know, we haven't agreed to that. And I don't know whether if we did have in-person meetings, people would want it to be a heavier agenda or a lighter agenda when it was an in-person meeting. So I think we should decide what are we doing about in-person meetings. And I don't think we should deal with all of Richard's proposal because it's sort of a separate item. But I would like to at least hear whether people think the idea of an in-person meeting for the planning committee means like putting the major items on that meeting or having it be a lighter agenda.
Waleed and then Sarah Jane.
Yeah, I think we should move towards a hybrid model to allow for in-person and virtual participation so that we can gauge interest in in-person. I see value in in-person meetings, so those are my thoughts on that. Thank you.
I'd like to go on the line too, Sarah Jane and Marlene.
Okay, now I'm in the picture. I think the last time we discussed it, we said that there would always be an opportunity for hybrid because while COVID's still so prevalent, I don't go to in-person meetings. So if that's what Walied's suggesting, that's fine.
Marlene.
I don't see that the meetings are any different. I mean, when we had in-person meetings all the time, they were just meetings. I don't see making an in-person meeting a special meeting. I just think it's healthy to meet in person once. We're too we're too far apart. I just think as a society, it's not particularly healthy. That's the only reason I want to get back to having some in-person meetings. That's all.
From myself, I think the proposal is to, when we say in person, I think we can understand that as hybrid, because we do know some people won't be showing up, and for sure, my suggestion is that we would encourage people to come in person when we decide to have a hybrid meeting, and that there be like a special emphasis on that. So that we do get more people coming in person. It doesn't seem to me like I'm hearing a lot of interest in every meeting being a hybrid, but maybe I'm hearing that wrong.
Yeah, so my understanding is that it would mean hybrid. My understanding was also that they weren't asking for every meeting to be, they just wanted there to be some. I think that it should be, at least to start with, we should try it out as once a month hybrid.
Great.
Marlene, if you were going to speak, I didn't hear you.
Agreed. That's all I said. I agree with him.
Sarah Jane.
I cannot attend any personal meeting. So if you don't have a hybrid meeting, every meeting, I can't attend it. So my understanding was that there will always be an opportunity for me to attend online because there's COVID in my building and I cannot attend an in-person meeting, not once a month, not a half a meeting a month, not ever. Thank you.
I'm just going to step in for a sec. Sarah Jane, that's the understanding. We are saying that there will not be in-person only meetings. Anything in person will also be hybrid. Unless I haven't heard a disagreement with that. Gail.
Yeah. Do we have the technology for hybrid? Because currently, then you just can't participate in any hybrid meetings that the SDP has. So if that's not going to be properly fixed and not, we have it, because it can't be we have it and then it doesn't work. And right now it does not. So for those who cannot attend in person, then now that becomes a little bit of exclusion. I certainly cannot attend in person, like Sarah Jane, for my other reasons, but I cannot. That would be one thing for me. The other is the dynamic, right? And I think you guys saw all the back and forth in the chat. So the other is the dynamic. And for me, that also has to be something, maybe that's the shaping cultures thingy, but that needs to be there. There are people who have not come to this meeting because of folks on this call, right? I could call names, but I'm calling names. I see other people are calling names, but they did. They stopped. They said, I'm not coming, and that's the reason, right? So, I mean, you can't fault them for that. They've made that decision for their own mental health. But again, the dynamic also has to be taken into consideration. So technology, dynamic.
Sarah Jane.
We don't have an owl, if that means that's what you mean, but I attend planning meetings and SDP meetings as a hybrid meeting. I just follow along with the speaker. I have to use my cursor to make sure I can attend. Somebody's up to the microphone and I put my cursor on the microphone. It's awkward. It'd be better if we had an owl, and I think I priced it at $250 or something. In any case, I'm perfectly happy attending a hybrid meeting, any kind of meeting, and I can just put my my cursor on the microphone.
Marlene.
We seem to forget that there was no other way before COVID. That's the way we met each other. We met in person. And it didn't matter whether people were offended by things that were being said or what was going on. You don't want to come, you don't come. If you're committed to being there, you'll be there. This is the way we did business. The prerequisite now is that it's going to be hybrid. We can't do it unless it's going to be hybrid, and we'll figure out a way to do it, or we won't meet in person. Okay, but this nonsense that oh well, people can't come because they're offended by somebody else. I'm sorry, I have no patience for this. Grow up. If you want to be there and you can deal with it, come. There are adults in the room. And you have to learn how to deal with it. Everybody has to learn how to deal with it, and people have to learn how to behave. That we now, because we have computers in front of our face, we're no longer feel safe to meet each other in person. What are we talking about? Are we going to be isolated for the rest of time? God forbid that we should be traumatized by each other. Well, that's really sad. That is really sad. All we're talking about here is having one face-to-face meeting once a month. What is the big discussion? You come if you want to come, and you stay home if you don't. There'll always be hybrid. We'll figure out how to do it. We've done it before. I don't know what the big talk is. I don't understand this. I understand you can't come, Gail. Understand, Sarah Jane. She doesn't want to get sick. I get it. But, and other people may have their own reasons. But people might be traumatized by somebody else. Oh, please. How far are we going to change as humans that we can't meet each other as a group?
Okay, Gail, and then Blondine.
That's baloney.
Geez, I wouldn't like to have friends like that. But look, yeah, so every meeting I've gone to, so maybe Sarah Jane, we all need to come to your house, because even at the last meeting, no one could hear what was going on with the last stakeholders meeting, right? They couldn't hear you. I don't know if you were on that call. I think what's her name from my building? I don't know if she's still on the call. She was also there. We couldn't hear, and that's been the case. So all we're saying is you can have a hybrid, but let's ensure that we can hear, that we can raise our hand, we can communicate, we can be a part of the discussion. That there's no issue there, Marlene, okay? In terms of your comments around people, that look, you are working together as a community, so it can't be, oh, who cares about them, right? Else we would not need to work together. You couldn't be a group, you can't be a team and say, oh, we don't care if somebody feels X or Y way. Additionally, when we were in hybrid, where we were in person, when I first came coming to me, the dynamic was different. You did not have the same individuals. So yes, the dynamic has changed. If you didn't need, you would not have created the shaping cultures if there was not a need to help foster that integration of different kinds of people, thoughts, personalities, etc. That's why the thing is there. It's not about, oh, you have a problem with me? Okay, too bad for you. Come if you want, don't come if you want. We are all different people, and we're not going to be able to manage some of the things that happen the way you do. You hear some folks here talk about their own mental health. You see things that people put in the chat that when you get upset, you curse. That's you. People don't like that. Some people don't like that. Doesn't make it wrong for you to do it. That's your way of expressing. You've been allowed to do that. Therefore, you need to allow others to express in the way that makes sense for them. Listen, I'm just like you. I would like us to all kind of just do the work. I can go into that vein as well. That's what I do in my day job, right? I can do that. But again, you guys have taught me this is community work, and it's a little bit of a different dynamic as well in the way in which we handle, we care, we talk to, we communicate, and we work together.
Gail, I've had to learn
Okay,
how to
Marlene, we have Blondine, and then if you want to speak, Marlene, put up your hand, please.
fine.
Hi, we have a classroom and we can accommodate some virtual, like hybrid meetings. Our classroom is set in a way that it can actually help, but we cannot meet more than 20 people in person because we are still within the flu season. So if there is any way in the future for other meetings that you might think that in person may not be beyond 20 people, we have a good tool to facilitate hybrid meetings, and I can also allocate some staff time to help facilitate and also monitor the chat if people who are virtual would like to have a meaningful participation. So I just wanted to offer that and also say that I'm going to be leaving in 10 minutes. I just wanted to offer if that is also something that you might be looking for in terms of space and good tools for hybrid meetings.
Thanks, Blondine. I think I'm just going to follow up on Blondine, if people don't mind, just because she's going to be leaving soon. Blondine, could you just say a bit more about the facilities that you have for a hybrid meeting? Like, do you have an owl or something comparable to? Do you know what an owl is?
No, please. What is that?
And maybe there's other things too that I'm not even aware of. So it's a technology that is a camera and a speaker and microphone all built in together and gives a 360 view of the room. So
Yes,
everybody that's in a meeting is visible, and that the sound is very good quality sound, so you can hear anybody speaking.
I don't think we do have that owl thing, but we do have something that offers the 360 view of the room, and we have a mic that actually covers the classroom and the entire classroom. And it's been rented by other groups, yeah.
Yeah, so there's other stuff out there that I wasn't aware of. Yep, okay. Great, thanks a lot. So Marlene and Ali.
Really quick. Gail, saying that I don't care is, you've always been absolutely wrong about that. I had to learn to clean up my mouth. If you think that was easy, you're dead wrong. But when was the last time you heard me swear in a meeting? Okay, my issue is people won't come and try. They'll say, oh, that person's in a meeting, I'm not going. That's what's garbage, okay? You come and you learn how to get along. That people won't try to change their behavior is what I find offensive. I had to change mine. That's all. That's all. I'm saying grow up. Learn to change your behavior. We're not children in these meetings.
Ali. Ali, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah. I recommend that to be a meeting in person once a month that will improve the communication among each other, and we could learn from each other how to be close to each other, to be open to each other, to learn from each other. I think this is at least once a month. It's a good way to attend. You see, not always on Zoom. Thank you.
Thanks, Ali.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to try to do a bit of summing up here. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this conversation that we could go into, but for myself, I think I'll not do that here anyway. But there's some discussions that we've had for quite recurringly, and hopefully we can get to a new place in them. We sound to me like there's general agreement to have periodic hybrid meetings. I've heard once a month is the specific thing that I've heard. I haven't heard other suggestions. And there's a question about an owl, but at least for now, if we meet at the birth center, we won't need to address the question of the owl. So there is a possibility. We don't have an SDP owl. And Yonge Street Mission has an owl, but it would only be available then if Yonge Street Mission staff are at the meeting, which usually would happen, but perhaps there might be exceptions. So I think I would suggest that let's just check, first of all, not on the place, but on the idea of having a monthly hybrid meeting. And I'll remind us that we actually had a hybrid meeting. We've had them in the past. In August, we had one. So this isn't like something completely new, but it hasn't been a regular practice that we've had. So just checking on people, what do you think about a monthly hybrid meeting? Any concerns about that? Ali, old hand or new hand?
No, I'm yeah, I'm sorry. Old hand.
So Michael, were you gonna speak? Sounds to me like people are in agreement with a monthly hybrid meeting. Any concerns about that?
Just a second, I'm sorry. That's a question of language. Does that mean only once a month there will be a hybrid meeting? I still need a hybrid meeting every time I can't attend without a hybrid meeting. Was that understood before we started this discussion again?
If anybody else hears this, understands this differently, please speak. I believe what we're talking about, Sarah Jane, is once a month having a hybrid meeting, and the other meetings would be like this one, online.
Online, okay, I see, okay. That clears it up, yes, that's fine.
Again, if anybody understands that differently, please speak now. Old hand, Sarah Jane, put your hand up again.
I'm trying to get it down. There
Okay.
it is. Be able to get it down.
Okay, so let's say we have a decision on that, unless your hand is in regards to that, Gail.
Yeah, my hand is in regards to that. So, Joel, you're policing me. I like it though. So, Joel, I mean, I'm wondering if we could, if it's once a month, right? I mean, so two things here. If it's once a month and, we cannot get the L, so the hybrid wouldn't work. I'm wondering if we can't still have just the in-person meeting. It's one a month, not it's only, but it's one a month. And of course, we probably need to tailor the thing where you're not making decisions, it's just discussion, so that people who normally attend, like Sarah Jane, who can't, or myself, could still participate, right? I think if the focus is, hey, we want to meet in person because we are engaging together, that would usually be the reason to meet in person. For that physical interaction, then why not, right? Even because I don't think it's good to do hybrid if it's not going to be good quality, right? If we can't get the hybrid working, why not have the in-person? That's the one out of the meetings that can be. And then, if we can get the hybrid working, then yeah, let's do the hybrid.
It worked.
But I think because there has been this push to let's have an in-person, even if you say, well, you know what, let's try this out for 2 months then, right? And see how that flows. Yeah, some of us who will not be able to attend, no problem, but the technology is what's not allowing us to. And, yes. So Sarah Jane, I heard you loud and clear. You're not listening to us. Yes,
No.
I know you cannot attend. You cannot attend. You cannot attend. You cannot attend. I cannot attend either. Right? I'm just saying for the rest of the folks, because they want to be in person, let's give that opportunity to be in person, because in person is not only that we're meeting to discuss things, but in person is the fellowship of human beings together. So if they'd like to do that, for that reason, it's just one out of, let's not have any decisions, discussion, you're meeting, fellowshipping, whatever, if we cannot get the hybrid to work. If we can get the hybrid to work correctly, absolutely, let's go hybrid.
Sarah Jane, do you want to speak?
My hand is up. Just a second.
No, it's not. But go ahead.
Okay. You're not listening, Gail. The hybrid works. It works. It works. All you have to do is use your cursor. And it works. It works. It works. And I don't want to be banned from a meeting because my house is full of COVID and I can't attend a meeting. I want to be able to attend every meeting. There's no reason why I can't. And if it's hybrid, it works. We don't need any more technology. We never have. So listen, please listen.
I think there's a disagreement here, Sarah Jane. You have your experience and Gail has her experience, and you don't need to agree on this. There doesn't need to be an agreement. So I'm going to make a proposal about a place now. Michael, unless you want to speak, Michael.
So, is there still a desire or need to amend the motion in any way? Because Gail was basically proposing that under certain circumstances it would be a non-decision making meeting. So that's an amendment to the motion. So I do want to at least know what we've decided. If there's still a desire to have some kind of qualifications on it like that, then I want to speak.
Yeah. Can I handle that, Michael? I think your concern will be addressed in our next step. So I want to propose that our next meeting be at the birth center, schedule pending, and that we test it out. And it sounds like it will fulfill our needs. Are people any concerns about meeting at the birth center is at the corner of Sackville and Dundas. It's 1 block away from Daniel Spectrum. Any concerns about meeting there?
Well, I'm concerned because
Sarah Jane.
I'm concerned because I can't attend that meeting.
No, it's a hybrid meeting, Sarah Jane.
Oh, I thought that. Okay, so it's a hybrid meeting, the one at the birth center.
Blondine explained that they have good technology for a hybrid meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm in support of that proposal.
Thank you.
In this case, then it will not. There's no amendment to the motion because we're expecting to be able to have a full meeting, including decisions if needed.
Well, there's no amendment as of now, but it sounds like some people are still saying that depending on what's available in the future or whatever, they may want to bring back the idea of non-decision making meetings. But my understanding is that we're really only deciding on this one meeting. It remains a decision making meeting, and then if necessary, we can change that decision afterwards. Is that what we're saying now?
Mm-hmm.
Any concerns with Michael's suggestion?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would want to know too, is because I think you'd have to test that it works, unless I didn't hear if the young lady from the birth center indicated. I'm sorry, I don't even have your name. The young lady, Bralandine. Nice to meet you. If it works like they've done it, then great. We don't have to test anything. But if it doesn't, then yeah.
make the decision at the time?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Test it. Yeah, we go there.
At the time.
Okay, Waleed and then Michael.
Yeah, I do want to say some more if we're still leaving open that possibility.
Can I proceed?
Waleed.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm in support of that proposal. And Blandine, thank you so much for that offer. Just put in the chat how happy I was when you put forward a solution. And I think, just let's try it out. Let's try it once a month, having hybrid meetings. And hopefully when it gets warmer, we might have more in-person meetings. But I just want to also make the following comment because I brought this up at a previous meeting, and I don't want us to ignore this. But in the past, we were adapting to new technology to support hybrid meetings. We did discuss the OWL and funding an OWL for the use of the SDP. So I'm just so this is a question to Joel. Was Greg responsible for that as the trustee for the 50K? I recall Richard speaking to the move to purchase one, but it was about timing. So I just want to have a better sense of where we're at with regards to having our own OWL for the SDP, just in case we don't have access to other rooms and we want to move forward with hybrid meetings every month. Thank you.
Can we put that on an agenda for a future meeting?
Sure.
Okay, so I think so we're suggesting that we will have a regular decision-making meeting, hybrid, at the Toronto Birth Center at some point in the near future, and we will at this point we won't make a plan for whether we'll keep open the idea that we need to have obviously a setting where everybody can hear and be heard if we're going to have effective decision-making meetings. So we'll table the question of whether or not some meetings are non-decision-making until we have a sense of whether we think this new system is going to be satisfactory to everybody. Our experience is what will tell us what works.
That's good.
Okay, any concerns about that? Thank you, folks. So thank you for your patience, Gail, in getting to this. We have 30 minutes left to discuss, at least to begin to discuss a work plan. And the floor is yours, Gail.
Okay, I have just to go. I just wanted to say goodbye. Thank you for welcoming me.
Thanks so much, Blandine.
Okay, bye.
Thank you very much for your offer. I thank you as well.
Take care, Blondine. Can everybody see the screen with the work plan? Is it visible?
No.
Okay. How about now? Can you see it all?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Fabulous. Really the intent here is to draft kind of what is our work plan for 2025. We are doing some strategic planning. The city is doing their strategic planning or stuff, refreshing. And we are at January, actually we're in the middle of January. So, we have work to do for the year. So it's best to put it in a plan so we all have line of sight, visibility, and alignment. So I have 3 questions at the top. The first is, what is a strategic plan? So what I'm asking for, let me see my screen. There are 12 people here, and I'm just asking a thumbs up if you know what a strategic plan is. So based on the 12 people here, everyone has said, I know what a strategic plan is.
I have to find my thumb.
No,
I am not 100% clear.
Oh, okay, sorry. So sorry, I thought I did it wrong. Yeah. So Marlene has said yes, and I believe that was Waleed's thumbs up and Sarah Jane's thumbs up. So I got Sarah Jane, Waleed, and Marlene. Okay, what is a strategic plan? The next is, what is a SMART goal? So again, thumbs up if you know, thumbs up, hands raised, anything, if you know what is a SMART goal. Sarah Jane has said yes. Michael is
I know what it is,
yes.
and I disapprove of its use.
Oh, thank you very much. Walied has said yes, and Marlene has said yes. Right, so same folks. And the third question is, what is a work plan? I've got Sarah Jane.
I'm not sure I know what a SMART goal is.
Marlene.
Well, it just doesn't matter. We're talking about something else here.
Yeah, then maybe I shouldn't have voted for it.
I'm putting my hand up, by the way, Gail.
Yeah, and Joel. Okay, great. So kind of the same three. So, you know, I'm not even going to get into any definitions at all, simply looking at what we're doing here. But the word SMART, and we can look at definitions after. So, oops. Yeah, so SMART goals, it's an acronym. It stands for the goal has to be specific, right? It has to be something that you can say, I can understand that I need to achieve this. So, you know, saying I want to be happy, you know, it's not specific enough, right? It's, you know, almost like saying I want to be very happy, or I want to be 90% happy, right? That is a little bit more specific. So it has to be specific. It has to be measurable. So when am I going to do it by is usually a part of measurement, but it could be amount of, you know, I want to have 17 people every time we have an in-person meeting. We want to have an attendance of 17, right? That is something you can measure. Achievable, you know, you don't want something that's lofty that you cannot achieve. You do want a stretch goal, as they call it, but you know, you want to say, you don't want to say, I want to walk around the world 3 times. Probably not gonna happen, right? But if you say, I want to have 2 stakeholder meetings a year, that is probably doable, right? As compared to I want to have 8 stakeholder meetings. Relevant, you know, does it align to the goal? So you don't want it to be out of scope. You know, a little bit like, you know, we may be here talking about meeting in person, and then the conversation goes into about how we're going to fund an owl, right? Like that is where it may not be as relevant. And then, you know, again, this whole measurement and specific is also, it must be time bound. That's the T, right? So, you know, there must be a deadline that we're completing this by, and we know that our work plan is for 2025. So we certainly have enough in terms of relevant and time bound. So that is a little bit of a definition of SMART goals. Michael, do you want to add something more? You don't like it, so I'm not sure.
Well, we haven't decided to use that methodology in the work plan. So let's just do a work plan. If some people want to speak to it in those terms, they can. But I don't believe in being achievable or time-bound or measurable.
Okay, here we go. Well, we have a goal of our planning committee, and we make recommendations to the SDP stakeholders table on strategic direction and action priorities, intercommitment, alignment, coordination, stakeholder, and resident engagement. And these are the 4 areas: supporting the SDP stakeholders table, supporting the 4 working groups to be report at the SDP stakeholders table meeting, address requirements and or requests that need a quick response, identifying information and or expertise that stakeholders require in order to make sound decisions. So, and you have to scroll up a little bit there for me, or that so that other folks can see it. Brian. No?
Sorry, dear, did you want me to increase the size or did you want me to move it up?
Oh, I'd probably move it up so that folks can see. And then the fifth one is developing facilitation approaches that increase the capacity of all stakeholders to engage in discussion and decision-making. These are the goals. These are the goals of the planning committee, not SDP, but the planning committee. And so what I've done here is put some SMART goals in there that relate to these 5 things. That's one thing I've done. And I'll read the first one. I'm not saying this is what we need to go with. And these are just, again, I just put random numbers in terms of measurements and time bound. So the first one is supporting the SDP stakeholders table to ensure that the meetings are effective. The goal here with some measurement is by March 2025, implement a meeting support system where agendas are distributed 7 days in advance and meeting minutes are shared within 48 hours after each meeting, leading to a 25% improvement in meeting efficiency as measured by stakeholder feedback surveys.
We haven't got that on the screen.
That was the first one, so she'll probably have to scroll back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's right there. And we can share out this document as a PDF. So, you know, and I'm not going through the other 5. I'm not saying these are what we need to do. I'm saying that I've taken them and placed them into a SMART goal that Michael apparently doesn't like. What I've listed after that, which you don't see, and I'll put it in the chat, are the 2023 items. So I went back, I looked at work plans that we have done. I didn't see one for 2024. But I went back and I looked at the work plans and I'm trying to find the chat. Oh, great.
That won't help me, but anyway.
Oh, there it is. So in the chat, I'm placing, these are for 2023. These were the items we had in a work plan. We had the SDP alignment. We had SDP hiring practices, the terms of reference, shaping culture. Oh, I put terms of reference twice. So again, SDP alignment, SDP hiring practices, terms of reference, and shaping cultures. Those were the big bucket items that we had in our work plan for 2023. As we looked at it, nothing was filled in other than who would have been responsible. So again, we'll have to discuss and decide what format, if any, that we want to go with. So if you scroll down now, the key here is for us to say, well, between January to March of 2025, what are the things that we need to work on? What is the big bucket for January to March 2025? So first question I'll ask is there stakeholders meeting?
We're not on that screen.
She is showing it there.
Is it number 4 or number 5, or is it number 3?
It's the next section where it says go and scroll down some more so she can just see a blank area, right?
Okay.
So just keep going down.
Okay, well, yeah, now I see it, but I didn't see it before.
Okay, great. Oh, you have an old one. So can you make a row, please? So after this column, after this row by March 2025, can you add another row into the document? So it would be a blank row. You can add it above it. It is fine. You're in the right place. Insert.
This is so complicated. I can't do this.
Insert row above. Perfect. Excellent. So you can just, so in this area right here on the left-hand side under goal, what we will now do is say between January to March of 2025, what are the things that the planning table needs to do? Is there a stakeholders table, for example?
I don't believe we've talked about that, Gail.
So we don't have a stakeholders table?
Not planned at this time.
Right. Is there anything, is it maybe the budget? Is it the, is it funding?
Funding might be something we should add in there.
You can't see the whole thing.
It's just a line.
Right.
It's the line on, it's the line, it's a blank line. It's the line or the row after Jan-March 2025.
I can't see what you're talking about because we only get little bits. And this is very difficult. It would be nice if we had a whole paper thing in advance to
I
look at.
absolutely agree with you, but we do our meetings on Tuesday, so kind of hard. Right, we
Well,
do our planning meetings on Tuesdays for a meeting on Thursday.
why can't you do it for the week from Thursday? So I could read it. I can't follow this at all.
I hear you, and we have to, so the idea is not for us to absorb it all, but to follow some direction in terms of saying between Jan to March of 2025, what are the things that the SDP Planning Committee needs to work on?
And is that on the next line? Because it's not all there. Where implement a meeting support system where agendas are, and it stops.
The line above that. It's a blank line. It's a blank area. Sarah Jane, we're looking for you to tell us what we should do between Jan to March of 2025.
This is very difficult. I can't really participate fully.
Sarah Jane, I think Gail's asking for everybody to give their ideas. We're at an idea generation right now.
Okay. That helps a bit.
Okay. Thanks, Joel. Nothing? Nothing we should work on?
Well, I mean, wouldn't we do a stakeholders table every quarter?
Well, that's what I was saying, but that's why I asked the question.
All right. Well, that's what we have decided to do, and I think we should just do it.
Yeah. Well, we can put it certainly, and then we can decide. Nothing to be sorry for. Nothing to be sorry for at all. But thank you for that. So stakeholders table certainly seems to be one that has come up. I think funding is the other as well. Brandy, can I share? Actually, that may be a little bit more helpful. Are you able to hear me?
Welcome here, Alona. We are looking at a work plan for the year. We're just beginning to put some ideas together for a work plan for the year.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. It just I had a long day today and I was taking care of Mike.
All righty. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Alona. The other person that couldn't see was Sarah Jane. Are you now able to see the screen? Is this big enough for you?
I wasn't complaining about the print. I was complaining about the information.
I got it.
That print is better.
Thank you.
What you got there right now.
So let me slow down a little bit here. So we are a planning committee. We have a purpose. This is our purpose. Supporting the table, that make sure meetings are effective, supporting the 4 working groups to be ready to report back, addressing the requirements and or requests that need a response. What is that? Identifying information or expertise that stakeholders require in order to make sound and informed decisions, and developing facilitation approaches that increase the capacity of all stakeholders to engage in discussion and decision-making. We could certainly start at this point and say, well, what is it that we're going to do this year to work on that specific item? In 2023, these were the items: the SDP alignment, the SDP hiring practices, terms of reference, shaping culture. These were the items from 2023, 4 of them. What I'm asking is, and let's forget about this, maybe this is what is confusing you. So let us
Yes.
do this. Yes. Anything to make you happy, Sarah Jane?
Well,
Let's remove that. And I'm
no,
being very
I'm
kind.
a little bit happy because it
Yes.
was, couldn't understand it.
No, I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. Not you, it's me. Okay. So, you know, we all we're doing is listing things. Forget about every other heading. This is like, what is that thing that we need to do between January to March of 2025? Go. Kadar, I'm going to start with you. I have been in learning and development for the past 34 years. I am only 24, so I'm going to do it this way. Kadar, my friend, young man, Regent Park TV, love your vibe. Tell me, what should the SDP work on this year? Even if it's not January to March, just talk about this year.
What should the SDP work on?
Yeah. You saw the goals, right? I mean, that's our goal. We shouldn't go outside of our goals, but you know, and sometimes I think we read them every week and still sometimes we forget, right? So
No, we do, because I definitely forgot.
yeah, no, me too. I had to go back and look, right? You know. So but forget about that right now. And for you, right? You've come to these meetings. What should we work on this year? Let's have a conversation. This is what this is. Let's have a conversation. And let me see if I can.
I think one of the things that we should work on is when we do get together and come to these meetings, try to like kind of stay on topic so the meetings are actually productive, because sometimes I feel like we don't stick to the agenda and we're all over the place. And I feel like sometimes that's just being counterproductive and we leave the meeting without having anything done or anything ironed out. So I think that would be something in the right direction.
Thank you for that.
Outside of that, if we can, I think that it would be good even just for us, if it's not like involving the community, for us to actually meet in person, if it's possible, if folks are able to attend. I think that will go a long way in addressing some of the issues that we might have within, and even just when it comes to decision making and problem solving, I think it will go a long way.
Folks starting over again. Oh, God.
Excellent. Thank you, Kadar. Brilliant. And Kadar, you know, if I could tell you, if I go back up and I take a look now at the goals, right? These things that we're supposed to do. One of them is we are supposed to, where is it? The first one, support the SDP stakeholder table to ensure that meetings are effective. And this is exactly what you said. Hey, I think we could do some work around this.
Yes.
Right? So see how it ties to the goal without you even knowing the goal. And the key is that you are here, you participate, so you know what we need, right? We all need to be successful. So I thank you for that, brother. Thank you. Thank you. The amazing Lona. Coming in here late, sagging in here. Tell me, Lona, what can we do this year as an SDP planning committee? You know, we meet every week. What do you say we should work on this year? Anything at all?
Listening more to each other.
Ah, look at you. Why you want to do that, Luna?
And not degrading people when their you know, their ideas are maybe a little stretched out. Like mine are sometimes.
You know you're not. I'm using your words. I like them. Okay, excellent. Right, you said, hey. And again, all of this, listening more to each other, not degrading people, all ties back to productive meetings. Sticking to the agenda.
All in all, respect each other.
Yeah, respect each other, right? Yeah, meet in person. Somebody said it may help with problem solving, may help with address issues within. Excellent. I'm just going down the list of people. No rhyme or reason. Sarah Jane, you're on my list there.
I'm gonna pass.
All righty, thank you. Who else I got on the list here? Let me not bypass anyone. Joel, you're up next.
Well, we have a bunch of things that are happening already. So something to add without wanting to make it too big. Well, I think we've talked maybe doing some ensuring there's some kinds of trainings that happen during the year.
Okay. Anything more specific? Is this training for all? Is this training for co-chairs? Is it training for leadership?
I would say it's training for everybody, and it could that could include leadership too. I mean, we all have to lead in different ways. But yeah, but for now, just I would say training for all.
I like it. You are up next, Michael. Anything you think we should work on this year?
So, I mean, I don't know if this needs to be here because it's already happening, but the strategic plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That's it? Thanks. Miguel, you're up next. If you're able to speak, because I think you said you're in a meeting. Miguel, are you able to hear us? You may be not able to. Okay, Walied, I believe you may be in the same meeting, but are you able to hear us? Do you want to respond here? Okay, we'll wait for them. Marlene, are you there?
Nothing beyond
Also,
so far.
Sorry?
Nothing beyond what I've heard so far.
That we should work on for this year?
Mhm.
You're saying there's nothing?
Can't think of anything beyond what I've heard people
What you've
say.
heard? Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Ali.
yes,
Yes. What do
well,
you?
this is,
Yeah,
I think this is a big subject to talk about,
it is.
and we need to share experiences and to be honest and accurate and intellectual and improve our soft skills and you see to uh, not to run away from problems, but face it, confront the problems, and this is something which is really it's as a society, not as and Regent Park is a part of society, which is international. So the people are not confronting the problems. They are running away from problems. They don't like to discuss about it, and this is something which make stress, frustration, and this kind of oppression. I had a bad experience last week at the gym. Hello? Hello?
Yep, we can hear
We
you.
can hear you.
Keep going.
Yeah. And somebody bothered me several times. First time insulted me first one time, second time, third time, and fourth time. The staff who were in the gym, I don't want to mention the colors, but they are not qualified and then they don't have experience, and they want to they raise it to the supervisor. The supervisor is not qualified, is not does not have customer service, is not doesn't have experience in solving problems. I think this problem, what happened with me, is not unique. It's something common, but the people don't like to confront it. You see, and nobody likes to hear, for example, and try to, because solving problem needs time, but you can find a solution which improve the mental situation, remove the stress, brings hope to the people. this what, and also this SDP should work on it. Not just spending time, just I'm doing nothing, just then go and we should be socialized. You see, and we should be, as I said, you see, we should forget about our differences, whether in color, in religion, in background, in anything. You see what can connect all these soft skills. So now, for example, I get stressed. I'm not going to the gym. And I'm spreading this. Why you are spreading this? Why? This is something which is chickening. What we don't confront it, then you see, look at the stress. You see, I'm friendly, I'm making joke everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. But I'm feeling that I'm talking on behalf of the people, of their situation, of their mental situation. And I smile and joke, and because look at the people now. They look in a bad situation, it's stressful, frustration. There are many reasons. So at least when you knock at the door, you see, when you are addressing these situations and try to solve it. And SDP is part of this society. It's not isolated. It's not from ET. You know ET? Hello?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
We still hear
Hello?
you, Ali. Ali, maybe you can wrap up a little bit? You can summarize?
Huh?
Now you're breaking up.
Yeah, what this is, I'm taking something which is very basic, very important, and which gets an effect, a very good effect. But I'm telling you, just like we were attending the meeting and just talk, and then everybody goes. We don't carry these things in our hearts and try to solve it. You see, just like every meeting. And I'm talking with everyone, and even with the people are getting in a bad situation because of many problems. They have it and they feel desperate and hopeless because nobody is addressing their problems. You see? So let's take it, let's listen to each other, and even dignity, very important for human beings. When you put a supervisor or the culture, the boss is a bad culture and stressful and put the stress on his employees, and the people put stress on each other. You see, we should address this. And we have a good, if when we solve these problems, then everyone will feel happy, will feel hopeful, optimistic. Yeah. But without addressing these things, without solving them, the people will be stressful, frustrated, addict, violence, crimes, suicide, all of these things. This is not, when you solve these, address these things and solve it, you see that. When you don't put the bosses who think that they are exercise their powers on their employees, or the one who is in public like a gym, this stupid supervisor who exercises power, and instead of saying that, blaming that guy, and they don't understand, they don't want to listen, they are just stupid, and who put them in that? They are just stupid like them, and they have bad culture. Yes, we get to confront, not just we enjoying our time or wasting our time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ali.
Yeah, you're welcome. So take them in the gym. You should go and you see who is this stupid supervisor who doesn't know how to address, to talk with the people, and also
Okay, let's pass it, Ali, let's pass it back to Gail now. Let's pass it to Gail.
Okay, that's it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is very important issue, and it's a common issue. You see, I know many people, they suffer, or and then they don't want to, they become sheep or a chicken. We want to be a human society, a civil society, not a military society. And this is something happening everywhere.
Okay, we're going to go to pass it to Gail, Ali.
In Ali, one part of the, everywhere,
we're gonna
but
pass
in
it to
different.
Gail.
Yeah,
degrees.
there's a safety meeting as well happening
Thank
on
you
Monday.
very much.
That may be a good connection point as well. There is a safety meeting happening on Monday, and that may be a good connection point as well, especially if you're feeling unsafe going to the gym.
What's that?
There is a safety meeting on Monday.
Yeah, okay. Just
Yeah.
just relax. Yeah. Just don't
Yeah.
push on your pressure. Just take relax. Maybe you get bothered of the way I'm talking. I'm talking something concerns you and concerns everyone.
Absolutely.
The one who understands what I'm saying, he understands this is talking on behalf of me, on behalf of everyone. But the one who does not accept what I'm saying, you see, he is increasing the stress without understanding that because he needs knowledge, experience, soft skills. You see, I'm saying this because I am very open, not just here. You see, here, wherever I go. Because I'm friendly, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to be the people, to feed the people, to make the people happy. How to confront and solve these problems. Okay, you have a meeting on Monday?
Sure do.
Okay.
All right.
Send me an email, please.
What time is that meeting on Monday?
So just hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
So let us just wrap up this, please. And then, because we're way past that, we're a minute after 7. So we've got your thoughts. What we will do is certainly look at all the things that are indeed happening currently. We have a whole agenda running list of things. And let's see if there are any things on there that we can bring back, put on this, and continue this work plan. What I will commit to is certainly by Monday doing that. And then I will have Brandy send this out so that you have it ahead of Sarah Jane and others, because I agree with you, absolutely, you need it to digest. And as well, a video that explains, I think, at a really, in a good way, what is a strategic plan, what is SMART goal, and what is a work plan.
Very good. Thank you.
Absolutely. I totally am on board with you. I wasn't saying that I wasn't.
We don't need.
But at least we got some stuff in here. We're not all going to agree. And Michael, you're not going to agree with everything that we say. Doesn't mean we're going to do what you want. And we are not going to agree with you. It doesn't mean that you're going to do what we want. But we're going to have conversations, and we're going to continue to have
on me right now, but
now it is now 7:02. Joel, you're the facilitator here. I will pass it back to you so we don't have to be here any longer than we need to, because we do meet every week anyways.
Yeah, thanks, Gail. We
go
can
ahead.
talk about where we go with, you gave us some idea of next steps, Gail, and we'll
Yes.
we'll come back again with this. So thanks everybody, and we look forward to seeing you again next week, and we'll
Absolutely.
I'll be in touch with Blondine just to see if she has anything specific she wants to offer in terms of dates, and we can maybe firm something up next time. Thanks everybody. Take care.
Have a good
Meeting
night,
on
everyone.
Monday.
It was great to
Meeting
see
on
everyone.
Monday. What time?
Oh, let
Safety
me.
Network is at 5:30.
Yeah.
5:30?
You don't have the link. It's not in your calendar.
It should be published on the social development calendar. I can also send out an email.
Send me an email.
I'll send it out. I'll blast it to the SDP.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Brandy.
darling.
No problem. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a wonderful
You
night,
too.
everyone.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. And for more information, please visit our website.